What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded, and today we're going to discuss some song lyrics and a movie. But first, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, drop a comment, share the videos, and do all those nice things that help grow the channel. I haven't said that in a while. The lyrics I want to read for you are about a small town. That's what they're about. So let's read this song that was written about a small town. And it says, well, I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town. Probably die in a small town. Oh, those small communities. All my friends are so small town. My parents live in the same small town. My job is so small town, provides little opportunity. Hey. Educated in a small town. Taught to fear of Jesus in a small town. Used to daydream in that small town. Another boring romantic. That's me. But I've seen it all in a small town. Had myself a ball in a small town. Married an LA doll and brought her to this small town. Now she's small town just like me. No, I cannot forget from where it is that I come from. I cannot forget the people who love me. Yeah, I could be myself here in this small town, and people let me be just what I want to be. Oh, nah, 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 yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. Got nothing against the big town, still hayseed enough to say, look who's in the big town, but my bed is in a small town. Oh, and that's good enough for me. Well, I was born in a small town, and I can breathe in a small town. Gonna die in a small town. Oh, and that's probably where they'll bury me. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Small Town by John Mellencamp. I don't get an ounce of vibes of racism from this song about a small town. Not at all. It sounds perfectly fine and dandy. It expresses the love for a small town and why it's cool. But there's another song that's causing a stir, and it's by someone else. And it's called Try That in a Small Town. And people are trying to ignore the dog whistles that are throughout the song. And if you've seen the video, the message is very clear who the audience this song is directed at. This song is basically a threat to minorities, essentially. People from the city. So let's get into these lyrics really quick. And I'm going to tell you why that matters to unions. All right. Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk. Carjack an old lady at a red light. Pull a gun on the owner of a liquor store. You think it's cool. Well, act a fool if you like. What imagery is coming up when you're talking about sucker punching someone on a sidewalk, when you're talking about carjacking an old lady at a red light, and when you're talking about pulling a gun on the owner of a liquor store? All these crimes, mind you, happen in a small town. So, imagery-wise, who are they really directing those words to? Cuss out a cop and spit in his face? Stomp on the flag and light it up. Yeah, you think you're tough. So now your First Amendment makes you think you're tough if you exercise your First Amendment. Minus the spit in his face. I mean, I'll beat you up. You spit in my face. We don't have a problem. We'll go ahead and eat that assault charge. But, cuss out a cop, stomp on the flag, light it up. Yeah, exercising your First Amendment. Then he says, well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. It's ironic that he writes in the line, see how far you make it down the road. When in these same small towns, they dragged black people behind their pickup trucks down the road. Think Daniel Bird down in Texas. Drag it down the road. Or anyway, see how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. But who's your own in this small town that you're referring to. Because if you take care of your own, then in a small town, you shouldn't have any sucker punching on a sidewalk, carjacking of an old lady, pulling of a gun on an owner at a liquor store. But poverty is everywhere and people are everywhere, and ergo, you're going to have crimes everywhere, because that's just the nature of poverty. It's just what it is. And now more than ever, poverty is even more rampant. But that's a whole nother story. So you see this imagery and it's all right, well, try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. No, you don't. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't try that in a small town. Who's coming to your small town from the city to do any of this stuff? The people that would be around you committing this stuff are also from your small town. They're not, the city folks ain't going out to the small town to go do violence. That's not how that works. Poor people can't make it to your small town to do violence and to rob and steal. They kind of have to do it in their own community. And sadly, that's just the way it is. Got a gun that my granddad gave me. They say one day they're going to round up. Nobody has said they're going to round up your guns. Well, that shit might fly in this city. Good luck. Really? You think there's no guns in the city, Chief? You have no idea what you're talking about. Try that in a small town. See how far you make it down the road. Around here, we take care of our own. You cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't. Try that in a small town. Then we get to full of good old boys. Really? What are good old boys, typically? Raised up right. If you're looking for a fight, try that in a small town. So it's clearly a threat to outsiders, and it's describing what stereotypes would be described of crime in the city. It's also describing behavior at protests, and if you watch the video, the imagery is all of social movement protests is what it looks like. But they don't show the attempted coup, and those folks spit in cops' faces and killed cops and stomped on things and threatened to kill the vice president and tried to overturn the election. No mention of that stuff in the imagery. I wonder why. Who could this be directed at? And mind you, the video is mostly about, the imagery is mostly what looks like during the Black Lives Matter protests that were 95% peaceful, by the way, except for agitations that were happening through covert things where you would see someone all covered up breaking into CVS trying to start everybody looting CVS. But we want to ignore that stuff too, right? So it says full of good old boys, blah blah blah, and then it keeps on going. Try that in a small town. And then I got folks, these folks that wish they lived during slave owner era because they think they would be slave owners, but they probably would have been slave patrol. I doubt they would have been John Brown. Highly doubt that. But these folks are out there talking about, I don't see what's wrong with the song. Well, you're kind of telling on yourself. Sorry. You're kind of telling on yourself. I don't see anything wrong with John Mellencamp's Small Town. It's a beautiful song about a small town. However, this other song that's causing the stir, it's ridiculous. Now, how does it relate to the IBEW? Well, let's take a look at the declaration of the IBEW, of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. This is off of IBEW Local 73's website. Our cause is the cause of human justice, human rights, and human security. We refuse and will always refuse to condone or tolerate dictatorship or oppression of any kind. We will find and expel from our midst any who might attempt to destroy by subversion all that we stand for. This brotherhood will continue to oppose communism, Nazism, or any other subversive isms. We will support our God, our nations, and our union. Human justice, human rights, and security. Let me let you know something, folks. You work next to siblings who are female, who are transgender, who are minority, who are indigenous, who are threatened by this current move towards fascism. And all of these things, like this song, are tools that are used to continue to keep us from rising up together. You swore an oath to this organization, and this organization stands for human justice, human rights, and human security. This organization stands for protecting each other. And if you have siblings who are minorities, who are blacks, who are gay, who are trans, who are women, It's on us to protect each other. And that's in the Declaration, buddy. Now let's go to the objects, which are also important. And they also talk about how this all relates. We are to organize the entire electrical industry. We're supposed to promote reasonable methods of work. And number 3 is to cultivate feelings of friendship among those of our industry. How can we feel like we have a feeling of friendship when you support the very racism that is tearing our country apart? The very classism that is tearing our country right apart. The racism is the tool for the classism war to be won by the 1%. Here you have a singer, I don't know who he is, marginally successful, I suppose, probably in the top tier of wealth, writing another song to help divide us up, and here we are eating it up like fodder. Listen, when the bad times come, they'll come for everyone. Poor, white, black, brown, indigenous, all alike. We're gonna all feel the pressure. That's just the truth of the matter. And you got to realize that they're using these things to keep us separated. To settle all disputes between employers and employees by arbitration, if possible. To assist each other in sickness and distress, to secure employment, to reduce the hours of daily labor. All these things are very, very reasonable and very, very good. And that's what we're trying to get done here. You have to think about that in how you move. To secure adequate pay for our work, to seek a higher and higher standard of living for all of our members. That means all of them. So we cannot support stuff that hurts others. And the culture war hurts half of our membership. The culture war hurts half of our citizenship because there is a party that wants to completely oppress and keep wages low, and another party who's supposed to be fighting back, who's dominated by much of the same types who want to keep the wages low. They just don't use the culture stuff to do it. But it seems every time someone makes a little progress, these insecure wannabe slave owners always get all up in an uproar because the supremacy is being challenged. To seek a higher standard of living, to seek security for the individual, and by legal and proper means to elevate the moral, intellectual, and social conditions of our membership, their families, and dependents in the interest of a higher standard of citizenship. All of this is basically just talking about human rights. And that's why it's important that we talk about these things that are going on. Now, I went and saw Barbie, and I'm tripping because I saw somebody say that it was demonic, and that was kind of funny to me. I'm like, why would you call a kid's movie demonic? And then I watched the movie with my kids, and there's mixed reviews coming out of it. But in fairness, I didn't know what I was really going in to watch. I thought I was going in to watch a movie about a doll, and it turned out to be a movie about a doll and society also. So I'm going to read a little bit from a CNN article. It says, in early July, some Republican lawmakers declared a war on Barbie, as Politico put it, over a childlike drawing of a world map they claimed was designed to appease China. Rep. Mike Gallagher of Wisconsin, who leads a select House panel focused on countering China's influence, asserted the map, which he described as cartoonish crayon scribbled, appeared to support Beijing's territorial claims to a contested portion of the South China Sea. Cruz also weighed in with the comments about Chinese propaganda. In response, Warner Brothers, the studio behind the film, denied any political message. Warner Brothers, which like CNN is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, explained the doodles depict Barbie's make-believe journey from Barbie Land to the real world. It was not intended to make any type of political statement. Fox News has repeated attacks on the film over everything from wokeness to inclusivity. One such segment amplified the call against Barbie, coming from Movie Guide, a Christian movie review site that read, warning, don't take your daughter to see Barbie. The segment criticized the film for the inclusion of a transgender performer, actor Harry Neff, and for presenting LGBTQ stories. Fox News host Rachel Campos Duffy, with a chyron that read Barbie gets woke makeover, complained that the left has given Barbie a complete feminist makeover, dubbing the film as just another indoctrination vehicle in another attack on the film. Guests claimed the depiction of Ken somehow emasculated men. Now, I watched the film, and I can tell you that what I saw was a movie that depicted the patriarchy in the ugliness that it is for the women that live inside of it. And in Barbie Land, it depicted that it was the exact opposite. It was a matriarchy, and women were powerful, and the men were not powerful in Barbie Land. I don't know what country you live in or what world you live in to not recognize that the world isn't fair, especially to women, especially in these current times. I mean, the attack on abortion, the attack on women's rights, the lack of ratification for the ERA. It's, I mean, amazing what we're seeing, and why I think that, you know, the movie's great for little girls to go see. Give them a dose of reality. I always tell my girls that they can be whatever they want, but it's going to take work. Nothing's going to be handed to them. In fact, I tell them how unfair the world is and how much better they have to be than everybody else in order to get ahead. I let them know the reality of what it is. And if you're not doing that for your children, you're not preparing them for life in our current society. I thought it was a good movie. I thought it had a strong, positive message. I think anybody triggered by it, you need to take a look in the mirror and talk to yourself a little bit, and maybe see a therapist and figure out what's wrong with you, because there was nothing wrong with that film. Anyway, my name's Eric. You're watching You Minded. It all matters because, once again, our membership is built up of a spectrum of people. We are a microcosm of society as a whole. And so we have to look out for each other. Not just the insecure, fragile, wannabe slave owners, but everybody. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody. Anyway, hope you found something of use in this video. If not, I'll try again next time. Peace. Oh, remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take class solidarity to win. Always, each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And there can be no union without you and I. Front and center. Peace out.